Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is Colin.
I am the J Guy Hunter.
Yes, you are.
I'm Star.
And I'm Christian.
And we're here to talk about droids. Hunter, take it away.
We got to see, I don't want to get into spoilers, we get to see some droids, and I am so excited. I actually own the kits of some of these droids, so I'm super familiar with the domes that were seen on screen. I know all the makers personally, and it's a great time. So excited to talk about droids later, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm gonna calm and just wait. There is droid time coming up. Don't you worry. Transparent domes out the wazoo. I'm so excited. Also, Jar Jar Binks is great, and I can't wear his head today. It's out in the shop. It's painting right now. But I'm working on my Jar Jar costume too, which is it's gonna be awesome. With the ripped Jar Jar.
Wow.
Yeah, totally swole Jar Jar.
Absolutely ripped. I'll deadlift like 800 pounds and then bench press a sedan in Jar Jar.
Okay. Well, with that being said, Hunter, thank you so much.
You're so welcome, Colin. Also, Josh is my bestest friend.
Hey, fair.
Whoa. All right. Well, let's dive into the new episode of The Bad Batch. This is episode 13, and it is called Into the Breach. To me, this was the episode that was like, all right, we are now getting into the end game, and they are preparing for the end, which is not just the end of their team, but it's the end of the show, which is very, very sad.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the prep for this. The anticipation and hype is real. How are we feeling about the end? Like, the end is coming up like in 2 weeks.
I'm not
really
ready.
worried.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely interesting from the perspective of like the show ending. For my friend Josh, he's graduating like the same time, so a lot of things are coming to the end. So it's like it feels like similar things are ramping up from his perspective, but it's really cool to see the stakes continuously rising, and you can feel that tension permeate throughout the entire episode. They're really making sure that everything is like drawing right close to the line and making sure that we're slowly preparing for what's about to come. It's really interesting. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Does Josh view Tantus as being the same as Iowa State?
Josh was really interested at the vertical heads down shot establishing of Tantus. That was really weird.
Not talking
They had
about
the same establishing angle of Tantus for the entire season, and then they went, let's change it up for once and just vertical bird's eye view.
Yeah. I really well, first off, I wish Josh was here to talk about the lighting.
Yeah.
But since he's not, I mean, I guess
You
we
can
just
just
won't
take
know. But I mean, obviously the thing in this episode that stuck out, there's a ton of things, but the repainting of the armor, like the symbolism of stripping the Batch's armor of paint,
Yes.
was such an indication of the ending, such an indication of stuff's not going back to normal. I mean, we already lost Pabu, we lost the Marauder, and now we've lost the paint. Like, it's just, it's not looking, I mean, my personal opinion, it's not looking good for survival rate here, in my
I'm
opinion.
amazed that HasLab didn't release like the Bad Batch helmets with their actual paint like right before they took it all off and pulled another Razor Crest.
Yeah. That for one, I'm gonna say the stripped armor
Yeah.
goes hard. It looks really
Yeah, it
good,
does.
especially crosshairs.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yes.
Yeah.
So-
And then for me, I the ending coming for Bad Batch feels a lot like the original like cancellation of Clone Wars when it got canceled after season 5.
Yeah.
Where I'm just sort of sitting here being like, I don't want this to end. I can't let this end. But at the same time, this is a planned ending versus a yoink pull the plug ending.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. There and also in my mind with this ending, like coming up, it's just like they have a lot to cover. They have a lot to.
There's so much to cover.
Yeah. And
do we know the run times of the last 2 episodes? Because I
Yeah.
have heard different theories, but
Mhm.
I don't actually have a confirmed. Like, do we know them?
I was about to bring that up because I've also heard the same thing. They have not released the actual release times yet, I don't believe. If Josh was here, I know he would be
Josh would know. Yeah.
looking them up right away. But it was just, I know that I felt the same way for the Clone Wars ending for season 7. I was expecting those episodes to be really long because it was like now they have like the official end. So you're just like, okay, here we go. And then those episodes were like 20 to like 30 minutes. And I was like, oh man. But here's hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, and I think we're Josh.
Josh just texted me the runtime on Wikipedia. It says 23 or 75 minutes.
Oh, that is so helpful.
So there's your range. 23 to 75.
Well, there you go. All
I'm
right.
gonna be optimistic and said it'll be 24 minutes.
Oh, I know that's reaching a little far, Christian.
I
There
think
might be riots.
we should. I think this episode should be an hour and 6 minutes.
Ooh, I'll take it.
I would like that.
All right.
I'd like that too.
66 guys, come on, it's fine. It's
Yeah,
okay.
no, we got it.
All right.
Oh,
Oh,
I
got
didn't
it.
get out.
me
I didn't
too.
get out. I was like,
Hour, yeah.
cool. Why not?
Okay, so we open on Tantus. It looks more. I don't think we've really seen it like super chill like this. Like it is daylight out. There's like birds flying. It looks like a very nice place, which is misleading. And the next shot when you go in and you have troopers and doctors leaving the vault. And
I wanted to harp on that just a little bit.
yeah.
When my friend Josh saw that scene, actually,
my
sorry. One of the things that he texted me about, we were just talking to each other the entire time, it was great. It was very interesting. It was like a new dawn for Tantus because it's the first time Omega's been back, and when they feel like the Empire now feels they have all the pieces that they need, and so you see the Empire's new dawn and how they're viewing them, but then all the birds they're not just flying around, they're all leaving. They're all going up in a way. There isn't like any of them going to like land near Tantus. It's as if that new dawn is disrupting the entire environment around, which I thought was a really interesting visual representation of the terror, but the terror being an inverse of the kind of shadowy, rainstorm filled environment we've always seen it in.
Yeah. And they do a really good job, I think, moving beyond like the outside. When you get into the interior, they really highlight the creepy medical droids, the medical staff. It looks even more oppressive in some way in this shot, probably because we know Omega's there, but they really do a great job of being like, this is creepy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna want to go back and compare this to the start of the season, but it feels like there's way more turbo lasers set up on the perimeter, like cannons.
Yeah.
Because they're even more like, no one's getting away this time. There's no, we need the person on that ship. We've proven it now.
I bet Tarkin was really annoyed by adding that from the budget. I bet he was just very upset because we all know that Tarkin is all about the credits and everything going to the correct places.
Do you know how many enslaved Wookiees you get for the cost of a turbo laser in the Empire?
Oh, that's just fine. That's what you bring that
Josh
up.
would look that up.
Yeah.
They're at like
Josh would look that up.
Oh my god.
If only Josh were here.
So the beginning of this episode is the character Omega really just talking about how the escape plan in her eyes is going to happen, and she needs the help of her new friends to escape. How do we feel about that potential escape happening? Do we think that she'll end up escaping, and then we'll have the tragedy of, as they're escaping, the Bad Batch, like, they end up getting in, and then Omega has can't help them at all? Like, I can just see something bad happening to where we probably won't get a reunion between the characters, and something bad is going to happen to where
I
yeah.
I
I
feel
I
like
go with you.
Omega will like successfully get out of the room, like out of the vault, and like
Okay.
escape, but not actually escape Tantus. Like I feel like she'll
Yeah.
do well, but like maybe the other kids will slow her down, or like something will happen with the other kids that makes it that her escape is impossible. But I think she'll like kind of escape, but not like fully get off the planet. But
Okay.
I actually really liked this scene because I thought that it highlighted like Omega's kind of growth through the series, especially from the last time she was on Tantus to now.
Yeah.
It kind of showed like, you know, at the very beginning, she's talking to Crosshair, she's feeding Batcher, and Crosshair gives her this whole talk about like you need to be focused on escaping, you need to be focused on your plan. And like you see her go into the vault and immediately sit down and be like, all right, here's the plan. This is what we're gonna do. And like her head is really in the game of like, I have made schematics with these blocks. Like we're getting out of here. And like I think that's really cool to see her kind of be all business.
Yeah.
It's also incredibly funny because to those kids' perspective, she's just insane. Like she's just out of her mind. And they're like, what are you on? There's no way. Like you're coming in with so much confidence. There's no way. Also, little continuing a previous, if we assume the average cost of a Wookiee is the Disney Plus store cost of $29.99 for the Black Series action figure, and sales tax price is about 6%, like the United States average, the cost of an XX9 turbo laser battery would be approximately 7,836 Wookiees.
Wow.
Wow, that's something else. I don't like that. But okay.
When did Josh get on this call?
I figured that wasn't too hard.
So after Omega pitches the plan, we then cut to the Bad Batch, which it looks like we're back to a familiar planet that we saw in season 1. I always get Cloud City vibes, even though it's not it's not the planet Bepson, correct?
No.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
I think it's an old mining. It's a mining planet or something. That's what's in my head. But
if I remember correctly, it is a Tabana gas mining facility. The way Bespin is, but Bespin is that scaled.
Yeah,
because Bespin wouldn't be the only gas source of that type. Bespin's just the biggest.
The other thing is, if you do look at the structures, they do look very similar to the ones that they had on Kamino. And I know we learned more about that in season 1. Just because I believe that I think the area that Taun We and Nala Se told Cad Bane to bring Omega to, it was specifically like some type of old Kamino, like old type base of where they did cloning stuff on there. But yeah, so we then cut to them talking to Rampart because he just wants nothing to do with his plan. He just keeps saying it's gonna fail, and then we see Echo come in. He has a stolen ship, which just kind of carries on the tradition of the Empire can lose ships easily and they just don't care. And that dates all the way back to Return of the Jedi. But yeah. So how do we feel about the way that that the whole process of getting to Tantus was set up?
I really liked it, actually, because there'd been all these questions of like, how is it that all these characters have gone there and they've come back and nobody knows the freaking coordinates? Like, it was really frustrating to me, and this was at least a somewhat satisfactory way to address that, where it's like, well, nobody gets to see them, they just get transmitted right to a ship. So I liked that a lot.
This season has done a lot of that kind of like explaining things to kind of like cover plot holes. There's been a lot of like Crosshair's been doing a lot of it where he's like, why don't we just do this? Like, well, we can't because and it'd be like 2 lines worth, but it really helps kind of clear those things out. So that was good to see. That was a thought out explanation that, you know, on first pass makes sense.
Right. And it's very much like they're just told, this is your exit vector. Here are your final coordinates, not even going to be like sent to you in a please input. But there's like, no, we're going to go directly bypass into the computer. Which from a security standpoint is brilliant. But I fully expected them to pull a like switcheroo kind of thing, where they somehow get the stolen shuttle in place to intercept the signal.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I'm happy that's not
Yeah.
the route they went.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting too. We did
Yeah.
get comms when they were supposed to be on comm silence, but
Yeah.
whatever.
When did they ever follow orders? Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Defective but effective.
Yes. And then after they start their journey to the station, we then cut back to Omega, and she's paying attention to everything that is happening very closely. She does get her hands on what tool would we call that? Hang on. I'm just
Poker.
gonna
medical shank. I don't know.
I would call it a
Medical
pick.
That
Ice
is the
stabber.
correct medical.
Yeah.
Well,
It's,
so
It's an Imperial ice pick lobotomy tool. So
It's
so
literally the worst form of leverage you could imagine having. It broke a chocolate bar wall.
yes.
Hey, they kind of look like just like sound pads. Like they don't even look
They
like
really
a real
did.
wall. It's just kind of like,
They
hey.
do. And she had like maybe like an inch and a half
I know.
of small rod, and it broke a like 2-inch block
I
from its
know.
wedge. And I was like, how do you physics?
They don't.
The cells are supposed to keep children, not medical
Yeah.
stabbers.
No, that's on my tray of medical tools that I have yet to touch or have a need to use in 4 episodes that I just have on a little tray. Because the only thing I do is draw blood, but nope. Need to have my dentist
You
decide.
gotta have multiple ways to draw blood, Josh, just in case.
You
blood doesn't
can't
come
put
out.
logic into Star Wars, Josh. I keep telling you this, and it's just like you ignore me, man. Like I mean, sorry, Josh Hunter. Sorry, Hunter.
Who's this
sorry.
Josh? Who's speaking?
Yeah, I know. I'm
Josh
I'm
isn't
so
here.
sorry. I know. Force of habit. But we then have one of the other doctors that is questioning the chief of staff, and she's just she's not having it. She's like, I'm in charge. And then she then kind of goes back later, which we'll talk about in a bit, of where she kind of suspects Omega of doing something. But Omega then talks about like the plan again, and then we cut to the Bad Batch. They are back to the station over Coruscant. We then have them kind of defacing the paint off the helmets and stuff, which I think this is the first time that we're seeing that, correct?
yeah.
Well, and I really
Okay.
love. So I don't like it for like one. I don't want to paint my armor, and I will, but
Too
it's
bad.
fine. But what I like about it,
Unpaint your
like,
armor.
what?
Yeah, unpainted.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
you can paint the new helmets that Colin's printing.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I like that in canon we get to know what the color of their armor is under the paint. Because like
Mhm.
I had questions about this. You know,
Do we?
Yes, because they
It's
stripped
like-
the paint, and so it's black.
Yeah, but they still had like white edges on them.
Well, that's
I
my
imagine-
question. So I
So
have.
is it like a zebra? Is it black with white stripes or
I-
white with black
So-
stripes?
Well, I'm not sure, but if they strip the paint, then they've got like Omega armor. So
I
I thought that
took
was
it.
cool.
I took it as the like they stripped all the paint that they applied by hand, which is like super cheap acrylic, and then it got down to like the super high robust Republic paint that's like truck bed liner that's
Okay.
black over standard white armor.
I wasn't even gonna say that it was like truck bed liner. I was gonna say it's probably a poly laminate.
A lead based paint.
No, like it's a laminate armor composition. So whatever the main like clone trooper armor is, the main base white material, because of this commando kit and it's designed to be tougher and more durable. There's probably a secondary coating that goes on top of it in the like manufacturing process that isn't a paint.
I like that.
Okay.
The
But
way
even
that,
if-
you know, if you enamel metal, you can still chip off
Mhm.
the enamel and get to the metal underneath.
Right.
But the enamel is a secondary chemically bonded coating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could be.
But regardless, it's really cool that like whether it's the base coat of paint or like the base armor, they do have Omega painted armor.
Yeah.
I don't
Yes.
know. I doubt that that's intentional, considering the fact that they've had some questionable choices with with some commando stuff earlier. So I don't know if that's intentional, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, just like that they now have an Omega color scheme,
Yep.
which is just
Yeah.
go get
I
Omega.
think it's
Let's
not
I was
wink.
thinking that too.
Yeah.
It's a
I-
wink.
If it's
I'm
not,
sorry.
we'll take it as it because it was so
Yeah.
cool seeing Matte Black command with like the
Yes.
white scratches,
Yeah.
and it gave them this almost ghoul-like vibe when they're going around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you only saw like the outline of them, which was really
Yeah.
really cool.
It was
Uh,
awesome.
Also, when they pulled into the hangar, I forgot to mention this. The hangar felt like almost overly sci-fi. Like it felt almost too complex for Star Wars. Like when I saw it, like there was a ton of lights, a ton of greeblies. I'm used to Star Wars hangar base being like very basic geometry with like giant lights and looks like it's made out of 70s materials on a super cheap budget. Not like this felt very high tech comparatively. Not that I'm against it, but I saw it. I was like, this is an interesting new design that we haven't seen from like an Imperial era hangar bay.
Well, that makes me think it's probably not originally Imperial.
Yeah, probably.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we know
Yeah,
the
like-
Imperial and the Republic is very austere and aggressive,
Yeah,
whereas
looks like-
this looks like a civilian hangar that's been converted.
Yeah,
the
for
ship looks
sure.
like High Charity.
Yeah, it did.
Yep.
It
So-
did.
Can I just say I really
It was
loved
up.
as they were pulling in Rampart complaining about his uniform rank.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be a vice admiral. You'll wear what we got you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I
also the
wrote-
really weird like off-screen Rampart. I can hear you. I was like, that was so weird. Did you guys hear
Yeah.
that too?
Yeah.
It was like that sounded like it was added really late.
Like
Yep.
this whole like, you guys not trust me?
yeah, I really like how
No.
the batch is not taking any kind of stuff from him at all.
Oh no.
Mm.
Like I was just like, okay.
I'm
Yeah.
really hoping that he doesn't stick around and then cause them a problem on Tantus.
Yeah.
Because, like, honestly, you should dump him out of the ship before you get there so that he doesn't like escape and go like alert people. So I'm really curious what'll happen with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. And also, we get to see our first droids of the episode, which was amazing. We got to see these hallways filled with people, but who cares about flesh beings when we have droids? He had mouse
Wow.
droids. We had unknown like humanoid droids that are kind of like K2 series, and they're walking like very lumbering around and they're pushing boxes.
Well,
and stuff.
Are we sure they're
Well-
unknown?
hang on,
According
Hunter.
to my Wikipedia, they are unknown.
Okay.
Well, so I was pretty sure that one humanoid droid that walked past the screen was the one that we saw in episode 1 and 3. That was the one
The
that
Kennel
was
Master.
with.
I need to
Yes.
access my droid memory banks and get back to you on that one, Colin. I need my large droid storage. Need a review.
Okay, Hunter, just take your time, man. It's
Oh,
all right.
sweet Lord.
So then we have the group. They sneak on board. They go past a bunch of these, droids and unknown droids. Quotations. Star, go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking like I'm sorry. It's more on the costuming, but dude, Hunter has teal gloves still in black armor.
Echo
And
has
Echo
red
has
gloves.
bright red gloves, and not a single person in the entire evil turnip base thought to themselves, "That's really
I
weird."
mean, the soft parts on them are also still the bright colors.
Yep.
I
Wrecker
know!
still has the yellow trim on his shoulder bells.
I know, and it was just like here's like yellow, green, and red,
Pants.
and
Yeah.
but
To be fair, Scorch still has painted armor, so it's not out of the ordinary to see high-level clones with some form of color. Yes, it's
who
not.
has green gloves. Like who has green gloves? Like
Hunter.
I know, but like, I mean, that's a fashion choice in and of itself. But I just feel like
Why do you hate them?
they're awful.
Ketchum has green gloves.
Well, so here's the other thing
Point
is
stands.
like I understand the costume thing, but you also have to think that if they can't even recognize a old past
That's true.
vice
Yeah.
admiral,
Now
then they're
we're
probably not going to be paying attention to the gloves.
Yeah, I know. It's
But
fair point.
but now we know if you guys were stormtroopers, we know that you would be on top and be like, wait a minute, those
Your
gloves
gloves
are
are
not
weird."
part of protocol. What's going on here?
Yeah, you the
So-
glove police. Yep.
I was thinking about
Non-Corex
this.
Astartes.
I was thinking about this in the office today, like after having watched the episode, and I was playing it back in my head, and no one blinking at Rampart walking by very much felt like the robot chicken joke of, yeah, Darth Vader can't actually kill all these Imperial officers without causing a huge HR headache, so we
Yes.
all get choked, die, and then come back with like a new prosthetic mustache and a new name.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Ask
And-
Admiral Jenkins here. He's been killed 17 times. And there's just this guy with like giant glasses and a fake mustache and fake beard.
And like a giant nose. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
like-
But
Face blind.
yeah. Yep. And then I guess there were only 2 Imperials that got knocked out. Which was the Imperial engineer when they went into the actual communication room.
Mhm.
And then the big guy that had the beard, which his voice sounded familiar. Do we know if that was like a special like cameo voice? Josh, if you can listen to us, you should totally look that up.
Through the
Um,
ether. Please,
yeah.
Josh.
Yeah, well, so that guy, like his animation looked exactly like the guy who was in charge of the prison in the episode before. At least to me, he looked really similar, and he sounded similar.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
I can't imagine they
Yeah.
have the same. I mean, it can't be the same guy.
Does anyone remember what his
Look like him.
the rank badge on him was?
He was a lieutenant.
He was
Yeah.
lieutenant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I think I know who he is.
Who?
Is he the guy that... No, he's not the guy that was giving crap to Crosshair because Crosshair killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be that.
No,
It was
it's not
like
that guy.
blonde hair with like weird voice.
No,
I dislike.
no,
and
it's not
very
him.
gaunt
him.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very dead.
He is.
Something that I thought was really funny about the shot of where Wrecker knocks out that lieutenant is that he has his legs crossed and he looks like he's on his phone, like
Mhm.
he's just
Yeah.
chilling there, and then this lieutenant just walks up and just ruins his mood, and he just knocks him out. And it's
I
just the
saw that
funniest thing.
shot and I was like, I'm pretty sure I've looked like that behind the scenes at a troop at some
Mhm.
point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just sitting there on
Just
his
in
phone.
armor, legs crossed, just on my phone.
Yep. Yep. And then they find out exactly how they can get to Tantus, but it sounds very difficult, which they don't actually send the coordinates until the ship is actually out in motion and they are in the correct position, which makes it difficult for the team, and they have to change the plan. And Rampart doesn't like this because now he actually has to be involved in the plan even more. And he kind of voices his complaint, and Crosshair was like, plans change, deal with it, which reminded me of the line from Empire Strikes Back with Vader and Lando, where he's like, I've altered the deal, pray I don't alter it any further.
I was thinking of Halo Infinite.
Well,
Plans
yeah.
change.
Always do.
Well, Hunter, very, very interesting, because I don't think you've ever played Halo, but yeah.
No,
Okay.
I've watched I've watched my friends play it, and Christian always talks about it all the time. He's a huge Halo fan.
I'm
Oh,
a huge
okay.
Halo nerd. That's fine.
Just
That's
gathering
right. I
it
have
through
talked. Josh, I mean, Hunter.
My loving conversations with Christian. Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
ourselves for bedtime stories. He'll tell me about Halo.
Yeah, I'll call him. I read him a book to sleep. It's fine. Hannah hates it.
Was
Yep,
anybody
so-
worried about Echo splitting off by
Oh,
himself?
yeah.
Because like I was like, that's so scary to like separate him
mean-
from everyone else. I was like,
I was very worried about it, but at the same time, watching him handle himself the way he
Yeah.
did,
yeah.
every single shot of him, tucking and rolling, dodging and weaving through Imperial security
Yeah.
patrols,
Yep.
gets spotted by one TK and proceeds to stun, steal a comlink, and go like, everything's fine here, thank you.
yeah,
And Echo going up into the ship, we saw the return of the droid shoot from the first scene in A New Hope, the droids getting up on the sand crawler.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
my inner droid lover really wanted to see how, like, what was it like to be inside that chute? How does it work? I was really curious. I was really hoping that we get like a first person view, but we didn't, sadly.
I
But
was hoping for a second thing with that shot, which was that one commando walks over because he sees something and like kneels down to look under the chute, but obviously because of the armor can't actually kneel and look deep enough. And then as the chute was lifting up, he kind of glances up, but clearly his line of sight can't look up. So I was hoping the camera would pan and we just see Echo like inside.
I was
the
fully
chute
expecting
just
that
being
too.
pulled up.
Yeah, just like
Full
Mission
Mission
Impossible.
Impossible.
But
Yeah.
no, we also got to see some awesome astromechs. We got to see a transparent dome one, which I have a dome just like that, and I now know exactly what droid I'm gonna build with it. But it was so cool to see more droids, and he had a little sass to him. So
I was about to say,
cool.
Hunter, that was a very sassy droid.
I love astromech droids so much. I can't wait to have a fleet of like 20 of them.
Are they gonna pull your holiday chariot?
They're
Are
gonna.
you gonna be dressed as Bossk as Santa, being pulled on a sleigh, being pulled by astromechs?
They're gonna be my way around town.
Okay.
I'm just gonna like ride on my astromech droid parade everywhere I go.
I like that.
It'll be great.
It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah. I think which we'll get to towards the end, but there's a really interesting moment that kind of made me question of how the next episode is gonna, begin, just because of the way that the ship actually gets attached to the big freighter, because the way that it lands, I'm trying to say this like in the best way that makes sense. So the shuttle that they're in, when they actually latch to the big type cruiser, the landing gear is right there. So how are they gonna unattach the ship before they get there without being detected?
So
it's going to be detected. That's my guess.
I have a hunch that something's
Okay.
going to happen that causes Echo to miss being able to reset the proximity detector. Right, for just enough of a split second for there to be a blip in the cockpit of that shuttle. And that's going to be enough to raise an alert. And then we're going to have someone try to copy Fee's no power landing to get onto Tantus.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? As like an attempt to bypass any scans.
Yep.
It'd also be cool if we saw the ship detach mid hyperspace jump,
Ooh.
and they're like sent out somewhere in the galaxy, and they're lost once again.
Wow.
Yeah, does hyperspace have inertia? Do objects that travel at hyperspace stay at hyperspace speeds?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Because no,
We've seen a
don't
fight
think-
in hyperspace.
Yes, because
Yeah.
there wouldn't be any friction in space unless you're.
you can't put
located in
logic
asteroid.
into it, but
There's
okay.
not no
So-
yeah. Star's right. There's not.
Yeah,
There's
so
the
it
aerial
would stay.
velocity. Because I'm thinking about the Venator getting out of hyperspace in season 7. When it exits, there's still smoke trailing behind it. Like it's not
Yes.
like there's a forward and back motion of this. It
Yeah.
like it stopped and the velocity kept pushing the smoke forward.
There was also that scene in Rebels of where they are getting tracked by the Grand Inquisitor, and they have to break off from the Ghost, and they take the Phantom off of the Ghost in mid hyperspace travel, and they actually like break off, and they
Drops it.
come out of that spot.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we've seen
Yeah.
something very similar. I could see them doing that, but at the same time, they might lose the
Yeah, they
location
have
of
to-
Tantus
yeah.
if that happened to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they'll probably get detected and peel off.
Yeah.
I think
Although, what happens to Echo then? Because
that's the thing.
What
I
I'm
think
worried
Echo's
about.
gonna
Like,
get stuck.
how does he
Well,
get
I
back
mean,
to them?
If Echo gets stuck, Echo's hopefully going to go hardcore and just off everybody on that shuttle.
Heck
Which
yeah,
you know
let's
he
go.
could.
He could.
Echo.
If anyone can do it, it's going to be Echo, the last of the domino.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But still, yeah, I'm really curious.
And honestly, that's how the episode ends. We just kind of have them go off, and we have to wait until next week. I know one thing that we didn't talk about was how Omega actually got the panels off in the room, and we kind of saw like a chasm underneath. How do we think that they are gonna escape through that? Because they've pretty much got like they pretty much got a baby with them too, so that's gonna complicate things as well.
They have a baby that cries when it can't hold its toy.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to get far. I honestly think for the next couple episodes, this is my prediction. I think Omega's going to get out. She's going to start getting the kids out, and then they're going to get caught. She's going to get in trouble, and that's going to end up with her having some kind of confrontation with maybe the Emperor at some point. You know,
Whoa.
I think he's got to show up, and she'll be in deep trouble, and then,
Yeah.
you know, the Batch will have to try to save her. And
So I think what's going to happen is she's going to start helping the other kids escape, but because she's taking on this responsibility, she's going to make sure they all get out before her.
oh,
Yeah.
It's going to
Yeah.
end up with her being taken to where that last kid who we haven't seen since his attempted escape.
Like super
Isn't there
maximum
another kid?
security.
I thought
I
that
thought
was
that
the
was
green.
Or is he
Green.
back?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
back
I remember
now, but we
he's back,
didn't see
okay.
where he went.
We didn't see where he went, and he's way more defeated personality-wise now coming back.
Yes.
So I think we're going to see where he ended up, and that's
Yeah,
going to
agreed.
ultimately be
Yeah.
our, like, oh, this is Omega's punishment, so to speak. And then the
Mhm.
Batch is going to try to get her out of the vault, and she's not going to be in the vault.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And the vault is a perfect choke point
Yep.
Yeah.
for like anyone getting in not being able to get out again.
Yep.
Also, don't forget, we had a comment of this. The Zillow
Yes.
Beast still exists.
That is
And
true.
We haven't gotten that Zillow Beast
Yeah.
payoff from last season.
That's a good
Could it be
point.
like the General Grievous? I can't think of the name. I know Hunter would know the answer to this because he told me before. But
Osk.
no. What's the creature's name that General Grievous used to own when we went to Grievous's lair and the Clone Wars?
Gore.
Gore. Yes. Yes. So I could see the Zillow Beast being like Gore of where they just set it loose, and then the
That would
Zillow
be
Beast
cool.
kind of goes after the kids, and that's how you kind of tie in the Zillow Beast, and you don't, just not talk about it again for almost like
What if-
almost 15 years.
Another way they could do it is when the Bat and presumably Rex and a few other clones are
Mhm.
attacking Tantus. To destroy Tantus, they're going through and freeing Omega, and in Solitary is also where the Zillow Beast is.
Right.
And so they unleash the Zillow Beast
Yeah.
to destroy Tantus.
Yep.
And the Zillow Beast
Mhm.
goes from 10, 15 years or what have you being an antagonistic force, and it kind of becomes a tool
Yeah.
for good for the first time,
That would be
transitioning
really
that.
cool.
I
Well,
mean,
the Zillow Beast is not going to differentiate between Imperial
no.
and
No.
non-Imperial. It's just going to kill everything. So why not?
If anything, Imperials are what's been imprisoning it for
Exactly,
a long time. So
yeah.
it is a little
Well,
extra.
we know from the Zillow Beast arc in the Clone Wars that the Zillow Beast specifically recognized Chancellor Palpatine as being the root cause of its
That's right.
suffering.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I could see a Zillow Beast having personal beef with Hemlock.
Yeah.
Do we
Yeah.
think that Palpatine's going to show back up at the finale? Because I actually think he's
Really?
not.
You don't
I
think
don't think he
so?
is. Mm-mm.
Oh,
No,
I
me
was
neither.
thinking him too.
I could see him. I mean.
I think Palpatine's too big of a fish.
You think?
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
so.
Well, so again, they do have a lot to kind of tie up. Like there are a lot of loose ends right now, and we got 2
Mhm.
episodes left.
Yeah.
And this episode also was. I mean, to me, the show was kind of leaning towards justifying the line in Rise of Skywalker. Somehow Palpatine returned, and I think if they don't have that, not cameo, but more of an explanation from the Emperor, I think that would be a very missed opportunity. Just because of they are doing that in The Mandalorian currently, of where they are kind of hinting at some of the cloning process here and there. But I feel like just having Palpatine show up in episode 1 and 3, and then that's it, and then not them explain it all, not even show what was behind the red and black kind of capsule that Hemlock and Palpatine were looking at, would be a very missed opportunity. So in my opinion, I think the Emperor will return. I don't think he's going to be like a main character where he's like, I am the Senate, yeah, and he just goes crazy on everyone. I think he's just going to have like a couple of lines where he's going to explain things and kind of justify that line in a way, and that will lean on into the Mandalorian, because clones, like the whole cloning process, is something that the Emperor is very obsessed with. So it makes sense that he would end the show by explaining some of that, just because the whole cloning process has just been a big thing throughout the prequels, and this is kind of like in the middle from the prequels introducing and into the original trilogy. So it just makes sense the Emperor would show up, just to kind of explain everything in my opinion.
I could see the Emperor appearing the same way the Emperor appears at the end of Rebels. Very tangentially antagonistic, but not really that guy.
I don't think he's going to be out there fighting people,
because he's not the Batch's villain.
Right.
Batch's villain is, weirdly enough, cloning.
And
right.
Are we
That's
gonna...
a similar? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask, like, so with like Hemlock's really not like a big boss fight villain. So like, where's that going to take place? Do you think that's going to be like fake Scorch, or do we think that's going to be something else? Like, I'm just curious, like, where we're going to get our cool finale, like, boss fight from.
Fake Delta Squad is never showing up.
No.
I think, so the like big questions that I think a bunch of us have is, where's Cody? Who is underneath that mask of that sleeper? Is it Echo? Is it Cody? Is it, Commander Gree? Who knows? But it's, it definitely is going to be very interesting to see, because everyone's got different theories. So who knows? I mean, man, I know a lot of people are hoping it's Echo, including me.
Five.
Sorry, not Echo, not Tech. Sorry, Tech.
Not Five.
Yes, Tech. But I could also see it being Commander Cody. I could also see it being, maybe they did clone Crosshair, and now it's like an eviler version of Crosshair, and then it could just be, and then there's the other theory, which is, our theories are wrong, and it's something completely new that I don't think anyone is expecting at all to happen.
I know.
Yeah.
That's I'm hoping. But
Yeah. I think the big thing to expect, because does anyone remember what the title is for the next episode?
I had them.
It's Flash Strike.
Yeah.
Right? And then the final episode is The Cavalry Has Arrived.
Right.
Yep.
I think the next episode is going to tangentially follow the rest of the batch trying to regroup with Echo to be ready to launch an assault.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Got Wolf too.
Yeah, and then you got The Cavalry Has Arrived being the carry-on for whatever ending we get. And I think that ending would be Echo placing a beacon that would allow Rex to find them with whatever is left of
that's
regiment, detachment, insurrection cell, whatever you want to call it.
They have to bring in Rex and the other clones.
I hope
There's
so.
been so much setup. They've been part of these.
Oh yeah,
in a major way.
It's going to be a very bittersweet finale in my.
Yeah, and Christian, you saying that sounds like likely a very viable way of Echo's send off is the last domino going down. Sacrificing himself to bring in the cavalry.
And that's partly why I don't think that our CX clone is Tech, because I think they're
Mhm.
trying to give everyone in the batch a heroic send off
That's what I think too. Yeah, they're
and like a
gonna-
noble
Yeah.
send off, and you undermine that if you bring them back to any extent.
Right. And they've done that a lot in Star Wars history. I mean, you've got Darth Maul, which is a fine example, which did work out and everyone loved it. But then you got Ventress as well, which no one was expecting her return. And I
Right.
guess they'll explore that later on, is what they're hinting at too. But
Because if it's a return that's ambiguous in the ending originally, cool. You're just giving us closure.
Yep.
But if it's no, it was very clearly implied this is death of character.
I feel like if their intent is to kill off all of the batch, which is totally possible, then Tech's probably not coming back, because that's probably like,
of course not.
You know, if they're not intending on killing the whole batch, I could see them bringing him back, but we'll
there
see.
is something that Josh was messaging me about a few days ago, where every single time we see that sleeper agent in that episode, we also get an acknowledgement of Tech.
Exactly.
We don't get that acknowledgement of Tech without the sleeper agent.
Right.
That and him saying domicile, which I think triggered, like, everyone was like, "Oh, I've heard that before."
Yeah.
It feels a little disingenuous if it is Tech, which I think is increasingly likely. I'd really like to see it be Cody, personally. But
that would be the
having it be Cody would be
the saddest
amazing. And it would be a really like good out of left field thing. But with Tech, it just kind of makes sense. But I'm also disappointed by it, because I wish if Tech did become a sleeper, he retained his Tech, like being Tech.
Right.
Like he didn't become a sniper, but he remained that super smart antagonistic force that filled a new void of villain that we haven't seen the batch go against, which is a less shooty, more mental.
Yep, I agree with that, because it does feel a little bit like, let's give him all of Crosshair's powers, but make it, if it's Tech, it's a little odd. But I do think it makes most story sense for it to be Tech, because like it's about Bad Batch. They always show things of Tech when they're talking about the sleeper and so on and so forth, and so I think it's likely that it is. But it is a little odd that he like randomly gets all of the snipe powers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Josh just texted me. He agrees with Star.
Tell Josh thanks. Yeah.
Yep. So we've got 2 episodes left. We really don't know the run times for them, but it's it is. It's coming to an end, and it's super, super sad.
Yeah. I'm so sad. No. Especially because it just feels like the end of like the clone era of everything. And I just, oh, it's sad.
Yeah.
But I got a feeling that, if Dave Filoni is behind the wheel over there at Lucasfilm, I feel like the clone stuff will just keep coming in some way.
I hope so.
Yeah. I would just be surprised if all of a sudden this is it and we just never saw
another clone.
Captain of Captain Rex with them again. But then again, there's always Ahsoka season 2, and then you have like the big new movies coming out where Captain Rex might show up in live action, which would just be crazy.
Well, so something we thought of the other day is that you'd want to cast Tamora, obviously, for live action clones, which you really kind of can't at this point for the age that these guys are, if you wanted to do Clone Wars era stuff. But the Bad Batch are all defective and they do not look like clones, and they make a really big point of illustrating that. Those guys, this is my pipe dream, okay? You could potentially cast them
for cameos in live action,
Yeah, true.
So, just
if you do look at some of the toys they have released, though, they do have a Tamara Morris type face, somewhere. Yeah,
they're all variations on Tem.
Yes,
they are.
Yeah, I think Crosshair is like the main one where you really can't see that out of all of them, but. I don't know. I think if someone was going to survive out of all of them, I think it would be Crosshair. And I feel like Crosshair would kind of go off and do his own thing. Just because of he has been through a lot. I could see Hunter not making it, Wrecker not making it, and Echo, of the last domino that would fall. I'll guess I follow, you guys in saying that, but I could definitely see Crosshair surviving everything, and then I could see Rex being like, "Hey, listen, we are going into exile. Do you want to join us?" And then Crosshair's like, "Nah, I'm too broken. I can't be around you guys because it's just gonna remind me of the people that I lost." So then he might go into exile, and then we might see him, in the Ahsoka show or something like that, where he comes back, and then it's just like, oh my god, it's Crosshair live action. This is crazy. But yeah,
I don't think we're gonna get lucky enough to see any of these clones in live action tragedy.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
agree.
You could
As much as I would love it.
Yeah.
I think Crosshair is easily the most likely to sacrifice himself to pay off the character development we got from the entire season.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. A lot of people didn't think that we'd ever see the character Max Rebo show back up. But look at where we are now. All right. He showed up in Book of Boba Fett in all of its glory. And we still don't know where he is. He's not dead. So if anyone says that he's dead, you're wrong. But yeah. So
gone.
Who knows?
Reduced to atoms.
No, that is not true. I scanned that scene over 40 times and you don't see a glimpse of blue at all in the entire sanctuary. So
that's what reduced to atoms means.
Hunter, stop it right now. No, he's just not there. He's not there. He slept in. He missed his gig that night. Okay, he was doing laundry and he messed up. Okay, so just back off. All right. With that being said, we got 2 more episodes left. We will be here until the very end, and we'll be here after. I think on our final episode is when we're going to announce a special announcement, and then later next week is when we're also going to announce a full-out giveaway, which I think we kind of all know what it is, but we'll dive deeper into that later. Is there any closing thoughts? Is there any words of wisdom that you guys want to give to the audience?
Bomb bad episode.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think we're in for an ending that's gonna hit us all emotionally in a way we were not expecting.
Yeah.
Do we think it's gonna be crazier than the ending of season 7, of where we're all like?
I think everybody's dead, Colin. I think the entire batch is dead. I think the whole batch is dead.
I think we might pipe dream kind of hope for to mirror the ending of season 7 of Clone Wars, but if at the end, after the last fade to black on our main characters, we have a slow fade back in to the actual first set of Imperial era TKs securing the area. And then we just see Darth Vader's boots walking through the scene, looking at all the dead clones.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. That would be very sad. But we know it's not the last time that we're going to see Darth Vader in this animation, because shortly after that same week, we get Tales of the Empire.
Yes, we do.
Amazing. Yeah.
Actually, it would be pretty interesting if because we know that these animated shows always have a jump to another perspective at their end with the Emperor and Darth Vader and Clone Wars. It'd be really interesting if we jumped forward to Clone Wars style animation for old Rex, old Wolf, old Gregor, and we see the arrival of Ezra's ship to visit them as they did in Rebels season 2. So we jumping forward to seeing them right before they're brought back into a galactic conflict.
That would be very good.
Seeing them also, of seeing Kanan and them too, even just for a second, and the Clone Wars animation style would just be that'd be so cool.
Continuing the clones' perspective of that moment. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Well, with that being said, from all of us, may the Force be with you always.